So before the video starts, I just want to say if you enjoyed the video, make sure you go down, hit the like button, sub to the channel, turn on post notifications. Also, go down, comment what you want to see in the next video, and I'll surely try to do that. I'll see you when the video starts. Alright, so we're here on YouTube, and today we're reacting to Firearms Expert reacts to Rainbow Six Siege guns. Now this popped up on my feed. I was like, what the fuck is this about? So, as you see, I clicked on a little bit of this video to see what it was about. And this is a part 2. I'll be reacting to part 2 in the next video. But yeah, this is part 1. So let's get into it.
This is Jonathan Ferguson, the keeper of firearms and artillery at the Royal Army's Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And on this episode, Jonathan is checking out the firearms from the tactical shooter Rainbow Six Siege.
A rare sighting of the CZ75 automatic. Oh no, let's pause there. What the heck?
If there are any other games, guns, or mechanics that you guys want to see Jonathan break down, let us know in the comments section below. Make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one, and if you'd like to help out the Royal Army's Museum and continue to support Jonathan's work, check out the links in the description of this video.
I'll also put the links in the description as well on my video.
Oh god. Jeez. First weapon up is the C1, not called the Sterling. Technically it isn't a Sterling, I suppose, because it is the Canadian variant of what we tend to call the Sterling submachine gun.
So it's Canadian version of
machine carbine to give it
Sterling?
its original designation. That's possibly because of legal reasons, because the Sterling company still exists. First impression of the 3D model is pretty good, although they always remind me of Return of the Jedi, because that was the version of the Sterling that was used for the Return of the Jedi.
Wait, why does it look so similar though? Like down to this little hole right here. Only thing that's different is the barrel, the sight, and it doesn't have like this the rack thing that this one has. Like even down to like the like shoulder brace. I don't know, that's the stock. It's like down to a key almost. That's crazy.
Jedi Stormtrooper blasters. I keep staring though at the rail on the top because as far as I know, the C1 did not have a rail like that at any point in its real world existence. And that thing looks like I made it. It doesn't look very robust. It's not like a Weaver rail or a Picatinny rail or anything. It's just a sort of flange. And I wouldn't necessarily trust clamping anything to that. Certainly not an optical sight. It needs to retain zero. It kind of comes prepared for the inevitable tedious tactical upgrades that modern shooters must have, but really this ain't a modern firearm. This is a 1950s design, 40s design, and it doesn't really sit very
Bro, who's playing this game in the background, bro? He's ass. Or she.
well with the universe of Rainbow Six. I'm not really sure why it is. I'm guessing the operator.
Whoever Irregular Dave is, bro, you're ass. Oh, this is the AR-15 50 cal.
Okay, we have an AR, but importantly it says AR-15.50 or 50 because this is in fact a 50 caliber AR-15. This isn't a fictional variant. This is a real thing. And the 50 caliber round we're talking about here, which is quite a short round to fit in the receiver of the AR, is the 50 Beowulf, a suitably sort of macho name for a ridiculous overpowered cartridge with an absolute ton of recoil and pretty much no tactical applicability. So of course a natural fit for
no tactical applicability, bro. What did he say, bro? Hold on.
Applicability, sort of macho name for a ridiculous overpowered cartridge with an absolute ton of recoil and pretty much no tactical applicability. So of course a natural fit for a realistic first-person shooter. Sorry, I'm being excessively snarky today. Here's the 50 in action. We have got some accessories on here, and in this case, that big tank / Barrett 50 style muzzle brake probably makes some sense. If you're prepared to take a big, heavy 50 caliber AR into battle, why not have the brake on the end to tame that recoil? We're not talking 50 BMG recoil here, but it is significantly more than 5.56 or even 7.6.2. A quick word on tools. I think Siege deserves some credit for the destructible environments and the way that you can use, in this case, fire to...
That's what, like, differs Rainbow from any other game. Like, the environment is so, like, you can use it to your advantage. And it's just, like, it's just an amazing game.
Break through to breach. Breaching is a huge aspect of special forces, SWAT, tactical action, and it's something that was limited in the previous games, and they really took it to the next level with Siege. Definitely credit due there. Something we've noticed before in this series is a phenomenon that's known in the real world of firearms as height over bore, where you have a sight mounted very high above the bore, the hole through the middle of the barrel, of course, and because you're looking through the sight, your view of the target is clear, but actually your barrel is below the level of the wall, fence, whatever it is that you're shooting at. And we see that replicated quite faithfully in most modern shooters, I would say, but not here, curiously. The bullet is actually appearing from the sight level. I don't know if that's a conscious decision for gameplay reasons. I'd be surprised, given the sort of attempt to make this a sort of grounded in realism, at least to begin with. It would seem strange to not have the bullet coming out of the barrel, but it doesn't. And we can see that in the clip with the burn through.
Yeah, that's what I noticed as well. Like, when you aim down sights, the bullet, like, wherever you're aiming in the sight, it shoots where it is. Like, it doesn't, like, go through the barrel like he was saying. And that's very, like, it's very interesting from other games.
Wooden barrier there. Curious.
So why are we aiming at feet level, bro?
A rare sighting of the CZ75 automatic. Oh no, let's pause there. What the heck? We've got one here. These are not...
Bro, what? This gun's actually a real thing?
particularly common. They're a very niche type of weapon for things like VIP close protection. They're really hard to aim. You really need to practice quite a bit. Although designers will try to compensate, literally, for the recoil with ported barrels like this one, or other muzzle devices. And that's also, by the way, why we have a spare magazine flipped upside down and attached to the front of the gun. Shown here as an extended magazine. Now, we just have two standard capacity magazines, which are standard CZ75 pistol mags with a special base plate that is a sort of dovetail shape. You can slide them on to the front of the gun.
That's actually pretty cool, like, being able to just, like, and then take the old one and then put it in there, like, as the grip. It's actually very interesting.
Thought with this, once you've fired the magazine in the gun and you have to swap it over for your spare that's conveniently stored on the gun, well, suddenly you've lost your nice, convenient vertical front foregrip and you'd have to just hold it like a conventional pistol. The spare magazine on the game version, as we see this spinning around and it goes upside down, it ought to look like that. Feed lips to keep the top round in so it doesn't just fly out, and a visible follower, so-called because it follows the rounds up, pushes them up into the weapon. This model doesn't have either of those. It's just a sheet metal tube, and then it's just got nothing on the end. So I don't know if that was missed. Well, it has to have been, I guess. Quite intrigued that the game has chosen not to make use of the spare magazine attached to the gun in light of...
That would have been actually so cool if they did that. Like, they made that animation when you have to take it off and then put it back in once you, once you get that clip gone.
My speculation that would actually not be very practical in real life, because you'd have to remove your empty magazine, fiddle with the little catch to remove the loaded spare magazine from the front of the gun. That would all be a massive pain, and then you've lost your foregrip. So actually, if you were going to use this for real, I think the game's got it right. You keep a spare magazine on there at all times as a foregrip. The other thing is, especially with an extended magazine, if it's full,
yeah, like he said, it would be, like, very, very difficult, because you have to, like, go in a minute, like, you know how Rainbow Six Siege, obviously, if you know how Rainbow Six Siege, if you're watching this video, anything to do with anything, like, jumping over into windows, jumping over barricades and all that and all that. That prompt is so slow, and there's a little bit of a catch in there for like a delay of when you're vaulting to pull out your weapon. So it would probably be like the same of using that. You'd have to take it off and then put it back in there and then rack it and all that. It's actually more practical for the video game for them to do that. I agree with what he said.
It ought to be. It's hanging off the front of the gun and seriously affecting accuracy. Although, having said that, it would act as a muzzle weight. It could, in theory, improve accuracy. All of this is super theoretical. I don't think anyone in their right minds is clearing rooms with a fully automatic CZ pistol.
Op 4, last operator standing. Diffuser located. Disable it.
He's on the window, bro.
Another odd sighting for a modern tactical shooter, the DP, the Degtyarev light machine gun. We featured this before. What on earth is this thing doing in a modern tactical shooter? Don't really get it. I mean, it's undeniably cool to have, presumably,
It looks like
Russian operator.
that's what I was about to say. It looks like something made in Russia. It looks something totally made from Russia. Like the design, the makeup, like just everything.
Something as idiosyncratic and anachronistic.
Bro, I'm gonna start playing like Dave, honestly. If y'all want me to do a Dave tutorial, playing like your regular Dave, let me know, bro. I'll do that.
Just to deploy my word of the day calendar there as the DP, and it would work. You know, no reason why you couldn't use it. Although charging through buildings with a big, long, heavy gun like that is pretty daft. It is meant to be a light machine gun.
So what are you
Needless to
doing, bro?
say,
Scope
in
in,
Second
bro.
World War, there was no red dot sight or anything. I'm not sure what sort of sight that's supposed to be that's on there now. If you were trying to use this tactically today, you probably would try and put some sort of sight on it, so fair enough. At first, I recoiled at the leather-wrapped bits, because I'm probably becoming mildly famous for whinging about things wrapped around guns in games now. But here, it actually makes a little bit of sense. So the leather wrapped around the forend, or the barrel, is actually the sling, which seems to have been severed and has just been wrapped around. And certainly for gripping, is that the rest of it, by the look of it, has been wrapped around one of the bipod legs so that he can use it as a vertical grip. And holding the bipod leg like that has been an accepted way of hip firing light machine guns historically. Not that you normally would hip fire a light machine gun, but it did happen. So, an
That's considered a light machine gun? That's crazy.
interesting one, but a little bit of a silly one, I think.
Looks like something from Halo.
What's that? Is that meant to be an F2000? Jesus Christ. I'm somewhat taken aback by the SC3000K, and after a short break on the Tom Clancy wikis, I have discovered why this looks very removed from the FN F2000 that it's obviously trying to be. And it's because this is partly based, at least, and the name is taken directly from the Splinter Cell games. They have kind of merged that design, which was very reminiscent of the F2000, with the real F2000.
Wait, that's the real F2000? I thought this was just some made up fucking gun, bro. It looks like something out of Halo with all this like bulky shit up here. Like there's not even like a, or is that a scope?
It's obviously trying to be, and it's because this is partly based, at least, and the name is taken directly from the Splinter Cell games. They have kind of merged that design, which was very reminiscent.
Oh, that's what the SC stands for. Splinter Cell 3000K.
Real F2000. It's a bit uncanny valley.
No, that's 3000K, bro. I'm tripping.
Got a couple of these. It's pretty close, but every little bit of it is wrong. Also interesting are the markings on the side, part of which say 300 blackout. Now the F2000 has kind of stalled a bit, meaning there was no 300 blackout variant or modular system of parts developed for it. So not only is this partly a fictional weapon, it's chambered for a cartridge that the real F2000 has never been chambered.
Hey, so he called it an F2000. I wonder, like, 2000 rifle. I wonder if that's like a built-in scope. Cause that's crazy as fuck if that's like a. Wait, they have different variants of it though. They have one with the railing on it and one with this bulky thing on it. I guess this would be the real one, right? Or is it just like different variants? I don't know. I was trying to see if that big ass like bulky thing was actually like a built-in scope.
Chambered 4.
But it's very interesting.
Right, this must be our Russian operator friend again with his immaculately manicured nails. Oddly, we've now got a strictly prototype, as far as I know, Mosin Nagant derived grenade launcher with a revolving thing on it. I don't know a great deal about this. The only place I've ever seen it is on Forgotten Weapons. It probably only exists in a Russian museum, to be honest. So quite a bizarre choice for this game. In terms of how it functions, it's quite fun that they've gone for the bouncing grenade thing. I'm not aware of a real-life grenade launcher with that functionality. The damage that the round would sustain bouncing off a wall might well cause a problem. It won't necessarily bounce the way you want it to bounce, and it might get damaged. It might initiate early, it might not initiate at all. So that is really more of what I'd expect to see in Doom than in Rainbow Six. And as you've probably spotted, if you recognise this as a Mosin rifle, this is a bolt action. So he's putting in a blank round, a grenade, a blank round, a grenade, but then it's cycling itself like it's self-loading. So really a very cumbersome, awkward system. So I can sort of see why they've fudged it here and made it work more like a Milkor MGL, but with a Russian-looking skin. It's essentially what we've got here.
Fucking glass, bro. I don't know why Glass's gun does so much damage, bro.
This curious looking bullpup rifle, OTS-03, is a correct designation, also known as the SVU. It's a Dragunov design. The grip looks absolutely enormous, and I suspect that's not right. Of course, being a bullpup sniper rifle, this is meant to be a somewhat precision weapon. So as we see some mildly nauseating upside down rappelling there, we've got here a curious optical sight arrangement, a Russian sight, and it's unusual because it doesn't have a full
I don't think he understands that you can change the opticals on it.
frame. The intent there will be to increase field of view, so you don't have a bar of metal blocking what could be meters worth of real estate downrange. And then we have this rock-in magnifier. What's slightly unusual is that it's a thermal sight. A magnifier for your reflex sight, but it's in this case also thermal. Something that is definitely weird is that the thermal effect only exists in part of the field of view, whereas a genuine thermal sight, they fill the field of view. So I don't know quite why it's like picture-in-picture view for this. It's just the artistic decision they've taken.
Oh, this gun is dookie, bro.
Another really bizarre choice for a game like this is this Sarich. Not something I'm particularly familiar with. What it boils down to is this was one of, I suppose, many mock-ups for a concept rifle. It didn't get to the point of a firing design as far as I know. It's certainly sort of sunk without trace. .308 is incorporated in the name of this version, 308 Winchester being the civilian equivalent of the 7.62 NATO round, because this was meant to be for the export market as a self-loading rifle or carbine. Typically what we see from countries from the former Soviet Union, when they do that, they use NATO calibers because those are the ones that are increasingly widespread elsewhere in the world. But this is what you might call a paper gun. Doesn't exist other than as a non-firing mock-up that really does look like the Starship Troopers Marita.
I wonder where like Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege or Ubisoft, known as, came up with these like designs for the gun. Did they just like research a bunch of guns? And it's like, yeah, that would be do, that would do. And how did they pick the operators for which gun and all this and all? It's just, I don't know. I'm probably just gonna go down a rabbit hole with all that, so I'm just gonna stop talking.
But an original design and not actually an existing gun. So I'm kind of torn on it. I kind of feel like it shouldn't really be in the game, but on the other hand, it's quite an interesting real-life reflection of a sci-fi aesthetic. So. Our old friend, the much maligned SA-80 in L85A2 form, at least that's what it says. Here is an L85A2.
Wait, it actually looks so like It looks like it looks different, but it looks the same as well.
And I think you can see there's something not quite right about this one. What I'm interested in here is how squat and foreshortened this thing looks compared to the real thing. Although, as a bullpup, this is a very squat-looking weapon to begin with, it has a full-length 20-inch barrel in it. This thing, at the very least, has a
18.
shortened barrel. And I think, looking at it, the proportions are wrong too. I think the length of the receiver, position of the magazine well, they all look slightly off to me. So whereas a lot of the details look pretty good, some of the basic stuff isn't quite right. Perhaps I'm hyper aware of this because it's a quite an infamous design and a British weapon, but I don't think I've yet seen a game get the SA-80 fully right. But it's still a treat to see it depicted nonetheless. Now, I happen to know / remember
Who was playing this shit, bro?
that
What?
this was provided to the
Let me just go back, bro.
but I don't think I've yet seen a game get the SA-80 fully right. But it's still a treat to
What the fuck is this dude doing, bro? That's a brick wall. You can't shoot through a fucking brick wall, dude.
see it depicted nonetheless. Now, I happen to know / remember that this was provided to the SAS operator, or one of them, which those of you who know the history of this will find amusing, because quite famously the SAS don't use the SA-80 as a rule in this setting. Hostage rescue / counter-terrorism. The SA-80 is perhaps not the best choice for that application anyway, and it's not what someone like that would bring. The handguard
Misfest
on
your
here
dog
is
shit,
an
bro.
impression of the Daniel Defense rail system that we see here, and this version that I'm looking at is fitted with, I was going to say the standard iron sights, but the standard configuration of SA-80 has always been with an optical sight. For, dare I say, serious use, you aren't going to be equipping the iron sights. In this case, of course, it's the base configuration so that you can then unlock and upgrade. Kind of dichotomy between how the SA-80 is
See, like, they got the iron sights kind of right, though.
seen by the sort of firearms enthusiast community and the military community as perhaps not the best in the world, versus the sort of exotic nature of it, the distinctive look. The SA-80 is somewhat idiosyncratic, firstly in how the controls are laid out, and secondly in how those are used in the standard British military drills. You would expect anyone to follow the standard normal safety precautions and drills associated with the weapon. Well, long story short, the games don't do that. And in this case, we see a magazine change. We even see the magazine catch get depressed, which is good. And then, rather than using the bolt release, this catch here, the character is simply pulling the charging handle to the rear and letting it go. We saw that with an AR-type rifle earlier, so we should see clunk rather than that, which is what I think I'm seeing there. The other thing I'm spotting is another, like the C1, very thin, anemic-looking sight rail. Now, the SA-80 obviously does have a sight rail. It's this, much chunkier, similar shape. It's a lot thicker, it's a lot more robust. So in other words, the rail is completely different. This is just a bent bit of sheet metal that's been stuck to the top of the gun. This is a bit more sophisticated than that. Minor bit of trivia as well is that this pattern of rail is actually the NATO standard, but virtually no one uses it. What became the NATO standard ultimately was the Picatinny accessory rail that we see, well, apart from anything else, on this handguard and on countless other weapons. Britain did what it thought was the right thing in adopting the NATO dovetail, and then the rest of the world, the rest of NATO went, yeah, we don't really like that. And it was probably the right choice, to be fair. Thanks very much for watching the firearms of Rainbow Six Siege. A long-time Rainbow Six fan. Didn't play as much Siege as I might have liked. It's really gone a little bit wacky since I left it, but very fun to do nonetheless.
Wacky it is, my friend. But, yeah. This has been Firearms Expert Reacts to Rainbow Six Siege guns. I'm gonna do some of these, like, part 2, and I think they have a part 3 as well. If y'all want to see, like, any of these other videos, like Counter-Strike and Counter-Strike 2 and like Call of Duty or Metro, any of these, like, go sub to them. It's GameSpot. I'll leave their link in the description along with the donation thing for the museum that he works for. I'll leave that in the link, the description as well. So yeah, if you enjoyed, which I hope you did, make sure you go down, follow, subscribe, like the video, comment what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next video.